Hey, Crypto Kitties. I am Patrick, your Bitcoin motorist. And today I want to say why I am not a Bitcoin maximalist. Um, Basically, in my opinion, a Bitcoin maximalist is someone who puts all their wealth in Bitcoin and uses Bitcoin as much as they possibly can in their day-to-day transactions. And I definitely do not fall in either of those two categories. I certainly don't have all my wealth stored in Bitcoin, and I certainly prefer, in most cases, to use fiat for most of my transactions, for most of my day-to-day transactions. I don't want to use Bitcoin for most of my transactions. I prefer to hold my Bitcoin and not spend it. So I don't really think the label Bitcoin maximalist is a fair label for somebody like me. The reason why people call me a Bitcoin maximalist is because I'm not interested in shitcoins. I'm just not, and because of that, people use this term as a derogatory term. Oh, he's a Bitcoin maximalist. He doesn't he's a cultist. He doesn't think that anything else was worth his time, because it's not. I'm sorry, but your centralized shitcoin doesn't interest me. So I want to talk about some other potential stores of value besides Bitcoin. Um, but let's talk about Bitcoin first. So, because I have the market cap of Bitcoin pulled up right here on coinmarketcap.com, and the current market cap of Bitcoin is $64,494,000,000. Okay, so about $64 billion market cap. So that's all the Bitcoin in existence right now. Okay, well, let's compare it to some other stores of value. Now, we already talked about gold. Um, so what's the market cap of gold worldwide? It's about $7.5 trillion, way more than 64 billion. 7.5 trillion. But we're just touching the tip of the iceberg. Let me just talk about some other stores of value. So we know about Bitcoin, we know about gold. Let's look at stocks. Now, I don't have a number for the value of all the stocks in the world, but let's just take the New York Stock Exchange, which is the biggest stock exchange in the world. If you take all the stocks on the New York Stock Exchange and you add all their market caps, it comes to 18.5 trillion. So that's more than gold. So just the U.S. New York Stock Exchange has a higher market cap than gold. It's actually more than double. And gold's market cap is way, orders of magnitude more than Bitcoin's market cap. Now let's take a look at another store of value. How about real estate? I mean, a lot of people do store their wealth in real estate. So for example, in London, there are a lot of these luxurious buildings which are owned by foreigners. And basically, these buildings are empty. They're not being used. They're just some foreigner has purchased the building and they're just leaving it empty. They're not even maintaining it in a lot of cases. They're just letting it, fall into disrepair because it's just a store of value to them. They don't actually need the real estate. They just need a place to park their money. So they buy the real estate, which kind of drives up the real estate, value. So that's the total value of all the real estate in the world, according to the internet, is 228 trillion. That's way more than the New York Stock Exchange. It's not even close. And compare that to Bitcoin, which is 64 billion. Now let's take another store of value, which is money. The total value of all the money in the world, according to the CIA World Fact Book, is $80 trillion. Again, that's way more than gold. It's not as much as real estate, and it's way more than Bitcoin. And then what about bonds or debt instruments? That one's about 82.2 trillion as well. Double check these numbers. These are just numbers I found real quickly just by Googling it. So these may not be 100% accurate, but I think that they prove the point, which is Bitcoin is small potatoes compared to all these other stores of value. And I haven't even included art and collectibles and stamps and rare coins and things like that, and silver. Some people do store their wealth in silver, which whatever, you can take that for what it is. So there are all these other stores of value besides Bitcoin, and I certainly wouldn't have all my eggs in one basket, in the Bitcoin basket. I certainly think that having a diversified portfolio is a good idea. That's what I do. And so this idea that I'm a Bitcoin maximalist is just stupid. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. Just because I'm not interested in your shitcoin, that doesn't mean I'm a Bitcoin maximalist. Uh, now, so, but I mean, you can think about it this way. Um, I've heard the term alternative term Bitcoin standard bearer used. A guy on Twitter that I follow, which I highly recommend. His name on Twitter is Ugly Old Goat. If you just search for Ugly Old Goat on Twitter, Ugly Old Goat on Twitter, you can find his handle. He uses the term Bitcoin standard bearer, and I do think that that's probably a fair label for what I am. I am a Bitcoin standard bearer. So to me, a Bitcoin standard bearer is someone who thinks that at some point in the future, Bitcoin will become the money standard for the world. And I do agree with that. I think that I am a Bitcoin standard bearer, and none of the other cryptocurrencies, none of the shit coins are gonna do that. So I think it's a good idea for myself to be diversified, but not into shit coins. Diversified into Bitcoin and other traditional stores of value. Because could Bitcoin fail? Absolutely. Of course it could fail. It's only 10 years old. We just had our 10th birthday for Bitcoin. And yes, absolutely it can fail. Some bug can be discovered that was previously unknown. It's not likely, but it's possible that some catastrophic bug could be discovered because Bitcoin's code is very, very closely looked at. But it's possible that the developers have missed something and there's some catastrophic bug hiding in there somewhere. So certainly I don't have all my money in Bitcoin. And there might be other problems, like there may be a new cryptographic way of breaking Bitcoin's encryption, and something like that can be discovered in the future that can break Bitcoin. So I certainly don't think that having all your money in Bitcoin is a good idea, and again I don't. Um, so yeah, I'm definitely not a Bitcoin maximalist, but yeah, Bitcoin standard bearer. I would say that's fair. So anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think that should we embrace, if you're a Bitcoin, if you're a Bitcoin standard bearer, should we call ourselves Bitcoin maximalists, even though most of us aren't Bitcoin maximalists because we do use fiat for day-to-day transaction, we store our wealth in other places. What do you think about the term Bitcoin maximalist, and what do you think about the alternative term Bitcoin standard bearer? Oh, and if you're not following Ugly Old Goat on Twitter, I do recommend you follow him. He's a great follow on Twitter, and he's quite a character. And with that, I'll just say, hey, follow me on Twitter as well. I'm Bitcoin Motorist on Twitter. Subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already. Drop a like or a dislike to this video. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the labels Bitcoin Maximalist and Bitcoin Standard Bearer. And if you're watching this video on Facebook, go ahead and click on over to my YouTube channel and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because I may not always post on Facebook. I may stop posting on Facebook at some point. Other than that, you guys, thank you so much for watching. You guys are awesome, and have an awesome evening. Thank you. Bye.